The familiar silhouette of the Rockies stands sentinel against the pale morning sky, a timeless backdrop to the ever-evolving drama of Heartland. Autumn has painted the landscape in strokes of amber, crimson, and gold, a breathtaking beauty that usually brings Amy a sense of peace. But today, the vibrant colors seem almost mocking, too bright for the gray uncertainty clouding her heart. It's been years since the world tilted, since the name Ty Borden became synonymous with a past tragically cut short. She guides Spartan along the well-worn path, his steady presence a familiar anchor in the swirling currents of her memory. She remembers the shock, the denial, the suffocating grief that threatened to pull her under. Then came the slow, arduous process of rebuilding, for Lindy, for herself, for the legacy of love and healing that defined Heartland. She found strength in the unwavering support of her family, Jack's quiet wisdom, Lou's fierce pragmatism, Lisa's gentle guidance, even Tim's gruff, unspoken understanding. And then there was Nathan, his calm presence a balm, offering a different kind of connection, a tentative step towards a future she hadn't dared to imagine. But the ghost of Ty never truly left. He lingered in the laughter of their daughter, in the melody of a half-forgotten song, in the quiet moments when the ache of his absence felt as raw as the day she lost him. From the porch, Jack watches her, his weathered face etched with concern. He remembers Ty arriving as a troubled youth, finding purpose and love under this very sky. He mourned him like a son, seeing Amy now, caught between the life she painstakingly built and the impossible figure standing at the gate, twists something deep inside him. Inside the bustling farmhouse kitchen, Lou orchestrates the morning chaos, phone pressed to her ear, laptop open, yet her focus falters. The news, whispered, uncertain, then shockingly confirmed, has thrown her carefully managed world into disarray. Tim leans against the doorway, arms crossed, his usual cynicism warring with a flicker of something else, something vulnerable he rarely shows. Georgie stands frozen near the window, the memory of Ty teaching her to jump, his easy smile, his unwavering belief in her, flooding back with painful clarity. And Lindy, drawing horses in the dust near the barn, hums a tune, oblivious to the tremor running through her family, unaware that the father she knows only from faded photographs and loving stories is about to step out of the realm of myth and into her reality. The crunch of gravel announces his arrival, not a ghost, not a memory, but flesh and blood. Ty. He looks older, undeniably marked by time and hardship. The boyish charm is still there, buried beneath layers of weariness and a profound sadness that seems etched into his very soul. He stops at the edge of the drive, his gaze sweeping over the familiar lines of the ranch house, the barn, the rolling hills, finally landing on Amy. Time fractures. Spartan whinnies softly, sensing the seismic shift in the air, nudging Amy's shoulder. She turns, her breath catching in her throat. It's him. The world narrows to the space between them, a chasm filled with unspoken questions, years of silence, and the deafening beat of her own heart. Disbelief is a physical blow, followed by a surge of conflicting emotions, anger, confusion, betrayal, and underneath it all, a treacherous flicker of the love she thought she had safely locked away. How? Why? The questions echo in the sudden, profound silence. He takes a hesitant step forward, his eyes pleading for something she isn't sure she can give. This isn't just a return, it's an earthquake, shaking the foundations of everything she thought she knew, threatening to shatter the fragile peace she fought so hard to find. The mystery of his absence looms large. Was it a choice? A necessity? What danger kept him away? Forced him to let them believe the worst? The explanation, when it comes, must be more than just words. It must justify the years of heartbreak, the lonely nights, the daughter growing up without her father. The air vibrates with the weight of it all, the dawn of a new, terrifyingly uncertain chapter for Heartland. The seconds stretch into an eternity, thick with unspoken words and the ghosts of shared memories. Amy remains motionless, trapped between the past suddenly made present and the future she had tentatively started to build. Tane takes another step, closing the distance until only a few feet separate them. His gaze is intense, raw, searching her face for any sign, any hint of the connection they once shared. He looks haunted, his eyes reflecting a depth of suffering she can barely comprehend. Where has he been? What horrors has he endured that etched such lines onto his face, stole the light from his eyes? Jack moves first, his boots heavy on the wooden porch steps. His voice, when he speaks Ty's name, is rough, thick with disbelief and a lifetime of suppressed grief. Tane acknowledges him with a slight nod, a fleeting connection to the man who was his anchor, his mentor, before his attention snaps back irrevocably to Amy. Lou and Tim approach slowly, their expressions a complex mixture of shock, apprehension, and a cautious, almost fearful hope. Georgie remains rooted near the house, tears silently tracing paths down her cheeks, overwhelmed by the return of the figure who had been so central to her younger years. But it is Amy's reaction, or lack thereof, that holds the scene captive. The carefully constructed walls around her heart are crumbling, brick by painful brick. This man is Ty, yet he isn't. The phantom limb aches not just with loss anymore, but with the confusion of his presence. The anger simmers beneath the surface, anger for the deception, for the years stolen, for the pain inflicted, regardless of the reason. How could he let them grieve? Let Lindy grow up believing her father was gone. He finally speaks, his voice raspy, unfamiliar. Amy, just her name. Heavy with the weight of everything left unsaid, it hangs in the air, not an explanation, but a plea. He sees Nathan stepping out of the barn, concern etched on his face as he takes in the scene, the tension palpable even from a distance. Tay's gaze flickers towards him, a brief moment of understanding, or perhaps rivalry, passing between them before locking back onto Amy. The presence of another man in her life, a life lived without him, is a stark reminder of the consequences of his absence. Lindy, drawn by the unnatural stillness, wanders closer, her bright, curious eyes taking in the stranger, her mother's tears, the frozen tableau of her family. "Mommy, why are you crying? Who is that man?" Her innocent voice shatters the fragile silence. Ty flinches as if struck. He turns fully towards his daughter, the daughter whose face he's only seen in pictures smuggled to him during his hidden years. If that's indeed the story, the resemblance to Amy, to himself, is undeniable, a living testament to the love they shared. The sight undoes him. He sinks to his knees, oblivious to the dust, the gravel, his carefully maintained composure finally shattering. Tears well, blurring his vision. "Lindy," he chokes out, the name thick with emotion. He looks back at Amy, desperation in his eyes. "Amy, I never wanted to leave. I had to. There were people. I had to keep you safe. Both of you." It's fragmented, incomplete, hinting at a dangerous entanglement, a sacrifice made to shield them from a threat they never knew existed. Perhaps it was witness protection, a clandestine operation, a past mistake catching up with devastating consequences. Whatever the truth, it wasn't a simple abandonment. It was a choice born of desperation, leaving scars on them all. The reunion isn't a heartwarming scene from a movie. It's the beginning of a painful, complicated excavation of the past, unearthing buried secrets and forcing them all to confront the fragile nature of trust, forgiveness, and the long, winding road to healing. The immediate aftermath of Ty's revelation settles over Heartland like a heavy fog. The initial shock begins to recede, replaced by a barrage of questions and the daunting reality of his presence. Jack steps forward, placing a hand on Ty's shoulder, a gesture both grounding and questioning. "Son, you need to tell us everything." His voice is firm but laced with the weariness of a man who has already buried Ty once. Lou rushes forward, torn between relief and practicality. "Ty, are you hurt? Where have you been? We need details, practicalities." Her mind races, already trying to manage the unmanageable implications of his return. Tim remains skeptical, his arms still crossed, his gaze sharp. "Keep them safe? From what? This story better be good, Borden, because Amy and Lindy went through hell." His words are harsh, but they stem from a fierce protectiveness of his daughter and granddaughter. Georgie finally approaches, her expression vulnerable. "Ty, is it really you?" He looks up at her, offering a faint, pained smile. "It's me, Georgie." Amy pulls Lindy closer, shielding her daughter instinctively while her own mind reels. Safe? What threat could possibly justify faking his own death, leaving them adrift in a sea of grief? The explanation Ty hinted at, protection, danger, feels both terrifyingly real and impossibly vague. Was he forced into hiding? Did he uncover something that put them all at risk? The narrative of a secret mission or witness protection seems plausible, yet utterly devastating in its implications. It means their lives were built on a foundation of lies, however well-intentioned. She looks at Nathan, who stands awkwardly nearby, his expression a mixture of shock and quiet resignation. His presence is a physical manifestation of the life Amy built without Ty, a life now thrown into chaos. The tentative steps they had taken towards a future together suddenly feel like walking on fragile ice. How can she reconcile the love she felt for Ty, the grief she endured, with the possibility of a new beginning she was just starting to embrace? Ty slowly gets to his feet, facing the family, facing Amy. It's complicated. It started long before the accident. Something from my past, people I thought I'd left behind. They found me. They made threats against Amy, against Lindy. He pauses, the words tasting like ash. The DVT, the clot, it was real. But someone used that opportunity. They made it look like I didn't make it. They convinced me it was the only way, disappear, or they'd come after you. I've been living off the grid, watching from afar when I could, waiting for the threat to pass. It finally has. The explanation is partial, raising more questions than answers. Who are they? How could he be sure the threat was gone? The logistics, the emotional toll of such an existence, are staggering. For Amy, the idea that Ty was alive, perhaps even nearby, watching, while she mourned him, is a fresh wave of agony. Trust, already fractured, feels like it's shattering into microscopic pieces. Forgiveness seems like a distant shore, shrouded in mist. Lindy, still confused, tugs on Amy's hand. Is he my daddy? Amy looks down at her daughter, then back at the man who claims to be her father, her heart aching with the complexity of it all. Yes, sweetie, she manages, her voice trembling. He is. The word hangs in the air, simple yet monumental, marking the beginning of an entirely new, uncertain journey for all of them. The sun climbs higher, burning off the morning chill, but the shadows cast by Ty's return linger, long and deep, over the future of Heartland. The hours that follow are a blur of strained conversations, halting explanations, and overwhelming emotions. Ty, cleaned up but still bearing the marks of his ordeal, sits at the familiar kitchen table, a stranger in his own home. Jack, Lisa, Lou, and Tim listen, their faces a mixture of disbelief, anger, and a dawning, painful understanding. He speaks of close calls, of living under assumed names, of the constant fear that kept him away, the crushing guilt that consumed him. He spares them the darkest details, but the essence is clear. He believed he was making an impossible choice to protect his family. Yet for Amy, the justification feels hollow against the weight of her lived experience. She mostly listens from the doorway, unable to sit at the table, unable to bridge the physical and emotional distance between them. Her mind replays moments of profound grief, Lindy's innocent questions about her father, the lonely nights spent staring at the ceiling, wondering what if, how could he watch, even from afar, and not intervene? How could he trust the shadowy figures who supposedly orchestrated his disappearance? The conflict within her is immense. Part of her wants to rage, to scream, to demand answers she knows might never fully satisfy. Another part, the part that loved him so fiercely, feels a flicker of the old connection, a desperate desire to understand, to believe that his actions came from a place of love, however misguided. Nathan finds her outside, leaning against the corral fence, staring towards the mountains. He doesn't press, doesn't demand explanations about their own uncertain future. He simply stands beside her, offering silent support. It's a lot to take in, he says quietly. Amy nods, unable to speak. His quiet understanding is both a comfort and a complication. Her feelings for Nathan are real, developed in the quiet spaces left by Ty's absence. His return doesn't magically erase those feelings or the life she built. Later, Amy finds Ty near the barn, watching Spartan. He turns as she approaches, his expression hopeful yet apprehensive. Amy, I know sorry isn't enough. Nothing can be enough to make up for the years, for the pain I caused. But I need you to know, every second I was gone, I was thinking of you, of Lindy. It was torture. Amy finally meets his gaze, her own eyes filled with unshed tears. Why didn't you try harder to come back sooner, Ty? Why didn't you trust us, trust Jack, to help protect us? He looks away, shame-faced. I was scared. They convinced me any contact would put you in the crosshairs. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was a coward. The admission hangs between them. It's not a resolution, but it's a start. A crack in the wall of silence and secrets. Lindy emerges, hesitant but curious, and walks towards Ty. He crouches down, meeting her gaze. Seeing him interact with their daughter, seeing the cautious hope and fear in his eyes, softens something in Amy. The road ahead is daunting. Rebuilding trust will take time, perhaps more time than they have. Integrating Ty back into their lives, into Lindy's life, navigating the complex feelings involving Nathan. It's a minefield. But as the sun begins to dip towards the horizon, casting long shadows across the ranch, a fragile seed of possibility takes root. It's not the fairy tale reunion some might have dreamed of. It's raw, messy, and uncertain. But for the first time in years, the future of Heartland, while terrifyingly unknown, feels strangely, undeniably alive with the potential for healing, forgiveness, and perhaps a love rekindled against impossible odds. The story is far from over, it's only just beginning.